Hi guys, welcome to chapter 8 of this video tutorial series. In this chapter, we'll be discussing mainly about the DML scripting, that is data manipulation statements. We'll be starting with how to insert data, then how can we update the data, then we'll move on to the deleting data concept, and then finally we'll touch upon what is SQL scripting and how can we execute a SQL script. And at the last, we'll be discussing about something called SQL CMD utility. So let's get started. So first up is inserting data. So we have already discussed how to insert data in the previous chapters, but we'll be going in detail in this chapter to discuss how we can insert the data. For that, let us create a table. We'll call a table as employee, and let's say that it has two columns, EID, which is of int type, and ENAME, which is of varchar type. Before we start working on this inserting data concept, I just want to tell you one more thing, that it's very easy if you want to convert a bunch of statements into a command or into a comment. For example, if you have something like this is a comment and you have multiple lines of it, or if you have a code that you don't want to use as of now, but you want to use, but you don't want to delete it as well. So what you can do is you can just highlight the code or the lines that you want, and click on this comment out the selected lines portion, and in this way the lines or the piece of code or the bunch of code will be converted into comments. And on the other way, if you want to uncomment something, for example, if we talk about the code that we didn't want to use at that time, but now we want to use that code, we just can click on the option that is just adjacent to commenting the lines, which says uncomment the selected lines. And you can see the shortcuts as well, Control plus K or Control plus U. So just click on this and it will be uncommented. So it's a very useful feature. The developers have to use comment exclusively, because if you don't use the comments, if a third person looks at your code, it will be very difficult for him or her to make sense. So it is vital that you comment out your code so that it is comprehensible by all the other members within the team. So moving back or coming back to the inserting data concept, so we'll have to create a table called employee which has EID and ENAME, and let's first of all execute it. We'll have to press F5. So the command is executed successfully. That means the table has been created. So let's insert values. So the syntax for inserting values into a table is, we have to write insert into, then the table name, which will come automatically provided the table has been created, and then a keyword values, and then bracket start and bracket end. Now you need to give, or you need to assign the values as per the order that you have mentioned, or the order of the columns in the table itself. So our table has EID as the first column and ENAME as the second column. So ENAME should be enclosed in quotes, and let us give my name location to it. And when you execute this statement, again F5, one row would have been inserted. Now let us try to see whether the data was inserted properly or not. So what we do is we hit a select command, that is select star from employee, and select it, press F5, and you can say it has the data inserted. Now I told you that the values that we want to insert should match the order of the columns inside the table, but it is not always necessary. You can change the order as well, but provided you specify the given order, you define the order in the insert into command. So I want to insert the other way around. So I want to insert ename first followed by eid. So for that purpose, I will specify ename first and then eid and then values. Let's first of all try to insert the data as we did in the previous case and see whether we encounter any error or not. So let's give another ID. We'll give 2 as the ID, and we can take the name as something like John, and let's see whether it errors out or not. Again, press F5. So see, it errored out because what SQL engine is trying to do now is it is trying to insert value 2 into a varchar column of ename. That will be successful because varchar columns can accept integer values, but when you try to insert a varchar or a string value inside a column of integer type, you will get an error that the varchar value John to data type int was failed. So this means that the order of inserting the values should match the order in which we have defined the columns in the table. So we should be doing it the other way around. We should have the name specified first, followed by the EID. So now we need to check whether this statement works or not. So we'll select the statement and press F5. So now the operation was successful, and again let us check whether the value got inserted or not. Press F5. Yeah, so I guess we have inserted the values of EID 2 and John couple of times. Both of the times it was a successful operation, so that's why the values have got inserted. So the main point over here that I'm trying to emphasize is the order of giving or assigning the values should match the order of the columns that are there in the table or order of the columns that you specified while inserting the values in the insert command. So this was basic syntax for inserting values into a single table. Now let us create one more table. So what we are trying to do right now is insert values into a table that involves multiple tables.